structures in Wing Chun. You got the arms, the body, and the legs, comprised of three structures we talk about, ultimately coming together to form one structure overall. But today, I want to talk about the legs, and specifically talking about shifting. It's been a while since I've talked about shifting. I had a new student start who's getting into it, and he's going well. But I want to go over just a couple basic talking points just to help you with the shifting. So, as you know, when you're standing Ichikiyama, you want to make sure you're balanced, okay? I don't want to be leaning one way or the other, because when you shift, you should always be balanced. Remember, Wing Chun is about natural body motion. Natural motion is balanced motion. You should never be on one leg more so than the other, all right? So with that in mind, when you roll the hips forward, bending the knees, I want to make sure that my body weight is in the center of my foot. All right, I don't want to be back on my heels, and I don't want to be on the balls of my feet. All right, every time that I'm shifting, I want to keep my body weight in the center of my foot. The other thing is that I want to make sure I'm not rising up and down as I shift. Sometimes people make a mistake that when they shift, they end up rising up too much, and when I rise up, when I shift, that causes one leg to drag towards the other. I don't want to be, when I shift, in a 60-40, 70-30, 80-20 stance. I always want to make sure I shift 50-50. Sometimes when you shift too, in the beginning, it's important not to overshift. All right? When you get to the Chungkyu level, obviously we are working on shifting the full 180 degrees. But before that, you've got to start small. So when you shift, I just want you to think shifting about 10 degrees. What that is that if I take my hands and I make my triangle here, all right, and I go to shift, I'm just shifting the length of my finger, all right, so that my middle finger comes to the top of the palm. So when I do that, I want to make sure both feet are going in the same direction. To do that, I focus on my knees, all right? So when I shift, I'm obviously making a circular motion here. So when I focus on my knees, now I need to focus on a target, all right? I don't want to just shift for the sake of shifting. To help unify the body, I have to mentally have a target in mind. All right, so you can pick any random thing that you think about or that you see in front of you and shift towards that. So when I'm standing in my Ichikiyama stance, focusing on my knees, I shift towards that target. So when I do that, I want to make sure that my feet are parallel together. I don't want one foot to be overturned or underturned. All right, when I shift, both feet are going to be technically moving, but at the end of the motion, my feet should be parallel. And when I shift the other way, again, I'm just swinging back that other 10 degrees. All right, so start small first. Now, to help swaying forward and backwards, I've got to make sure my body is straight. If my body's too loose, that means the legs can be too loose. All right, so when you stand up, I want to make sure that I have the proper stretch of the back. When I have the proper stretch of the back, my hips will be rolled forward. I don't want to push the hips forward. If I push the hips forward, that means my back is tipping back. All right, I want my back to be straight. So that when I shift, I stay straight up and down. I need to maintain this vertical motion so when we get into further footwork, that I'm always maintaining this vertical position. All right, when you walk, all right, you want to be walking so that I have this vertical going the whole time. If this is tipping forward, okay, if that point of contact that it's holding on to moves, you're obviously going to be falling. All right? And if it's tipping backwards and it lets go, you're going to fall backwards. But if I have the vertical position and it gets pushed on properly, the whole vertical position can move in conjunction with the force acting on it. All right? So when I bend my knees, that's causing my hips to roll forward. Maintaining my vertical position, I just want to shift 10 degrees, focusing on a simple object. All right? A lot of times when people shift, they end up just shifting and their weight falls back to their heels. I don't want to do that. I shouldn't be traveling forward or backward, and my feet shouldn't be traveling towards one another or away from one another when I shift. If there's 14 inches between my heels, when I shift, there should still be 14 inches. All right? Because that means I've maintained the foundation of my stance. All right? A couple tips, hope they help.